Right now, as I speak, President Trump has just signed the peace deal between Israel and Hamas as the final living hostages are released from captivity a whole 2 years after the most brutal terrorist attack against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. It's an incredibly emotional time and a Herculean accomplishment for Trump. The living hostages are home. Israeli troops are withdrawing. Hamas is being dismantled. A temporary government is being put in place. Israel, and you could argue the world, is a lot safer today than it was on October 7th, 2023. Trump deserves the Nobel Peace Prize not for one, but for several peace deals he arbitrated alongside very good advisors that actually worked. But Trump is not going to get the prize. And that tells you everything about how political the Nobel Peace Prize has become. Let's lock in.
President Trump is participating in an historic ceremony to formalize the peace deal that he brokered between Israel and Hamas.
President Trump has now brokered peace between the following warring parties: Thailand and Cambodia, Israel and Iran, Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, Egypt and Ethiopia, Armenia and Azerbaijan, Israel and Hamas. This is the same man who was mocked for even talking to Kim Jong-un. He was the first sitting U.S. president to step into North Korea. Safe to say, all of the naysayers underestimated his game. Trump came under so much fire, if you remember, for attempting diplomacy with Vladimir Putin. He was blasted for trying to have a working relationship with Xi Jinping. He was smeared as corrupt for brokering the Abraham Accords. Legacy media for the last 2 years has been demanding ceasefire, screaming genocide, and urging an end to the war in Gaza. Well, here you go. Trump did it. And right on cue, the media is raining on the peace parade.
How did the White House decide that it is appropriate for Jared Kushner to be working on matters that involve Qatar, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, 3 countries that combined have given him more than $2.5 billion for his investment firm?
I think it's, frankly, despicable that you're trying to suggest that it's inappropriate for Jared Kushner, who is widely respected around the world and has great trust in relationships with these critical partners in these countries, to strike a 20-point comprehensive detailed peace plan that no other administration would ever be able to achieve.
It turns out that peace through strength actually works. Imagine that. Thank you, Reagan.
My friends, we did it. We weren't just marking time. We made a difference.
Trump obviously deserved the Peace Prize, but what if I told you that this year's Nobel Peace Prize winner actually dedicated it to Trump? The Nobel Committee awarded the Peace Prize to Venezuelan opposition leader Maria Corina Machado, who has been very much a heroine of freedom and democracy in what is a third world authoritarian country under President Nicolas Maduro. And not to take anything away from Machado, don't get me wrong, an anti-communist Peace Prize handout is a win for sure, because Venezuela is plagued by socialism and corrupt leadership, political repression, electoral fraud, no freedom of speech really, violation of human rights. So Machado, for standing up to that, is very courageous.
We, Venezuelans, 26 years ago, were warned and said, look, Chavez will turn Venezuela through socialism and communism into Cuba. And we say, oh, no way. We have a tradition of democracy. We have a vibrant middle class. This is not going to happen. And look, today we're even worse than Cuba.
But she also wasn't so distracted by American leftist Trump haters that she wouldn't publicly acknowledge that the man fighting with her against the Maduro regime was Trump.
Decided to dedicate it to President Trump because he deserves it. Because not only has he been involved in only a few months in solving 8 wars, but his actions have been decisive to have Venezuela now at a threshold of freedom after 26 years of tyranny.
So Machado is saying for Trump's immigration policies, in making Venezuela less of a safe harbor for bad actors, drug cartels, smugglers, for that alone, he deserves the Peace Prize. And that's before you get to his negotiating the end to the Israel-Palestinian conflict. White House Communications Director Stephen Chung said the Nobel Committee proved they place politics over peace. President Trump will continue making peace deals, ending wars, and saving lives. And there will never be anyone like him who can move mountains with the sheer force of his will. It's true, President Trump brings people to the table just by asking them to, in a way that's kind of unique. Other presidents who preceded him didn't necessarily have that kind of persuasion power. And you'd think that old school liberals who are idealistic, kumbaya internationalist types would be applauding Trump for doing something that is saving lives and putting an end to the bloodshed and casualties in the Middle East. Not so fast. History shows us that awarding the Nobel Peace Prize is highly political, and from a decade of observing Trump in politics, it's clear he rarely charms the world's elite. That's kind of why he came into power in the first place, to smash the supposed sacred global elite with all their fancy credentials, drain the swamp, bring power back to the people. A bit of history on the prize. It was established in Alfred Nobel's 1895 will to be awarded to those who advance, quote, fraternity between nations, for the abolition or reduction of standing armies, and for the holding and promotion of peace congresses. Ironically, Nobel made his fortune in inventing dynamite, which was used in, wars. Only certain people can formally nominate candidates, members of national assemblies, heads of state, university professors in relevant fields, former laureates, that ilk. So already there's no grassroots behind the nomination. If it was a popular vote, Trump might have won, just like he did in the 2024 election. In recent months, various politicians, world leaders, they've nominated Trump, like Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Argentinian President Javier Milei, but it has to be decided by the 5-member committee appointed by the Norwegian parliament. So they review the nominations, they recommend a laureate, and then they vote internally, and a majority is needed to get the award.
Enter the Guardians of Nobel, public figures in Norway appointed by its parliament, preparing for their momentous decision. Watched over by the award's founder, Alfred Nobel, and the winners since 1901, the past and the present are on their minds.
In this millennium, only 2 U.S. presidents have won the Peace Prize. In 2002, Jimmy Carter got it for his decades of untiring effort to find peaceful solutions to international conflicts, to advance democracy and human rights, and to promote economic and social development. I mean, as far as the Iranian regime and hostages go, I can't say I totally agree with that assessment or that pick. You could argue that Jimmy Carter's Camp David Accords kind of failed because it didn't broadly create Arab-Israeli peace, didn't solve the Palestinian issue. Yeah, it led to a lasting peace between Israel and Egypt, although Egypt was estranged with other Arab nations because of it. It was messy. Then in 2009, President Barack Obama was given the prize for his extraordinary efforts to strengthen international diplomacy and cooperation between peoples. Recall that the prize is given for the year prior. Barack Obama wasn't elected president until November, so what international diplomacy was he responsible for exactly? He wasn't even president yet. NPR at the time wrote this headline: policy experts say Obama's potential led to Peace Prize. Potential? The Nobel Committee said that Obama had captured the world's attention and given its people hope for a better future. Oh yes, hope and change. Remember that? Liberal gobbledygook that meant nothing. The committee chairman said, well, the award was more for Obama's aspirations than for his achievements. Quote, it was because we would like to support what he is trying to achieve.
Obama is a very special person in his own right. And when Obama then comes along and we have this wonderful spokesman for these ideals, we feel he has achieved something by changing the tone and the climate, and we want to give him whatever support he can get in producing concrete results based on these ideals.
That's all fine and dandy, but what did he actually do, tangibly, when you gave him the award? In the last century, Teddy Roosevelt, Woodrow Wilson, they also got the prize, so 3 out of 4 handed to Democrats. Just saying. And I would argue that they all colored in the lines of progressive politics. They didn't do anything unconventional to buck the trajectory towards leftism in America. Trump shook up the whole system. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, former frenemy Marco Rubio, his former real estate lawyer, Steve Witkoff, they helped secure this deal, and it was the strangest yet brilliant hodgepodge of thinkers that only Trump could assemble to actually get this deal over the finish line. Meanwhile, Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for vague promises and rhetoric. Trump has brokered several peace deals.
Peace through strength.
And you know Trump, he wants the credit, he wants the accolade, I don't blame him.
The Nobel Peace Prize, your thoughts?
Look, including a very big one. And I'm not sure, when you say big, it's certainly, I think, to the mind of most, the most important deal ever made in terms of peace. But the one we just signed, it's been signed, sealed, and it's going to start taking place now. It's already started.
And for that reason alone, I'm sure there's plenty of people who would love to keep it from him. A lot of legacy media has wised up, in recent months at least, to the fact that Trump wasn't a fluke. He is the political moment. Time magazine realized this. They made him the 2024 Person of the Year because he has this insanely rare combination of guts, political instinct, ability to execute, that is something to applaud, even if you don't like the guy personally. Now, the Nobel Committee is unlikely to call a spade a spade. These armchair specialists in war and peace, prestigious academics supposedly, in their framework, Donald Trump is disqualified by default. They wouldn't dare debase the committee and the award by giving it to such an unorthodox recipient. But that's okay. Trump does not need this prize. He's above this prize. It's called a Peace Prize, but as we've seen from recent history, it can be pretty empty and meaningless. What do you think? Should Trump be honored with a Nobel Peace Prize? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this type of video, be sure to throw us a like and subscribe to our channel. You can get all kinds of exclusive content by signing up for NR Plus, linked below, and by downloading our app. Make sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and for more, check out my articles at nationalreview.com.